Representative Paré, thank you for joining us. So is there any movement? Is Governor Cooper going to keep us in a constant state of emergency?
Well, thank you for having me, Rick and Donna. It's a joy to be on your show today, but that's a great question. I think a lot of us are asking that question, and those of us in the General Assembly who signed the letter urging him to roll back this emergency order finally after 2 years is definitely interested in an answer to that question. So people want to move on, right? I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years. We see key metrics in the right direction, and the data just tells us that it's time for this emergency order to end, just like it has in 27 other states in the country, and it's time for North Carolina to sign on to that as well.
Yet Governor Cooper hangs on to those emergency powers. Why? What is behind it? What are your colleagues telling you is at the heart of his unwillingness to give it up?
Well, as you know, states of emergencies allow governors to ask for federal help and access state emergency and disaster relief funds. To me, though, it's just, when you have hospitalizations that are down 68% from a month ago, you have new cases in the past month down 86% from the month prior. When you have 76% of the adult population in our state that is vaccinated and vaccines widely available to anybody who wants one, that question is pretty glaring of why our governor is hanging on to this emergency order. Of course, this emergency order was put in place unilaterally, as you know, and Thursday will be 2 entire years of school closures, of business shutdowns, and I think everybody is now looking for a little bit of normalcy and something that they can depend on when they make decisions about how to educate their kids and for their businesses going forward.
Representative Paré, now that we have had this experience and assuming the governor is going to give up his emergency powers, what do you think the proper structure is for a state, for a governor to declare an emergency powers, as opposed to North Carolina, which is pretty much whatever the governor says? What do you think a better structure would be?
Well, I think checks and balances is important on any executive power. And I think that, we have a bill that passed the House and the Senate, the Emergency Powers Act, which would sort of put some accountability in place. It would have our Council of State have to concur to an emergency order like that. And if it goes beyond 45 days, of course, the legislature would have to sign on to that as well. And I think that's proper and reasonable. And I don't know why there would be even some pushback to that. And that, in my opinion, should have been how this came about in the first place, is to have a little bit of coordination from the Council of State is how I think we need to do this, especially going forward. That's what the people expect from us. That's what I think most people think proper government is a system based on those appropriate checks and balances.
So you were one of the Republican legislators who signed that letter to Governor Cooper on this issue. Have you all heard back from him?
I have not heard back from him, and I was with him yesterday at a groundbreaking ceremony where nobody was wearing masks.
You can't make it up, It's.
I have to say we're outside, but even here in Wake County, I represent Southern Wake County. It was the first day that all Wake County public school students could attend school without a mask yesterday. So I know that others had asked him about his plans on this emergency order. And of course, I was able to weigh in myself about my opinion about it. But I think it just shows we're there with a lot of people without masks, and we're all joyful about not having to wear masks in a public ceremony like that. Our children have the option to wear or not wear a mask to go to school finally. It just really, I think, tells the tale. It illustrates that most people are willing to, or wanting to move on. And this emergency order and state of emergency is absolutely over.
We've been speaking with Wake County Representative Erin Paré. She serves in the North Carolina House. And Representative Paré, thank you so much for giving us your time and signing on to that letter. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me today.